So then guys, welcome to the video, welcome back to the channel, and the time has come to sell an EP3. It's been a good run, we've done well with it, but it's not actually this car, it's actually Julian's car over here. So Julian, the time has come to get rid of your EP3.
I'm afraid so. It's that fearful day, I'm afraid, but I decided I've got to move it on and find space for other things.
Well, let's have a deep dive of this car, go through the list of things that are done to it, because it's pretty extensive, and see whether any of you out there want to buy this thing.
Of course they do. It's a wonderful car.
So guys, we'll start with a little backstory on, I guess, Julian, how did this all happen? You wanted this car, how long have you had it, all that kind of stuff?
I've done videos on your channel before, and we talked about how I was involved in the original design of this car in the sort of, I guess about late 90s. When we used to work for Honda Frankfurt. As a car designer, I've always preached that you should buy the cars you've designed, and so I bought this car in, well, you looked through the paperwork. When did I buy it?
2015.
2015, okay. I don't even know when I bought it. Anyway, I bought this car in 2015. Also, I wanted to experiment with modifying a car. I've never had a chance to really do that before. Always been into front wheel drive hot hatches and Honda Civic Type Rs. That's why I bought it. Done loads and loads of modifications to it. Used an occasional track day. It's really set up as a fast road car, but over the last few years I just haven't used it. I think I've got 11 cars at the moment, so it's quite difficult to get around them all, and I'm very lucky to have 11 cars. There's just too many to keep, and I want to just thin things down a bit now. It's just gone a bit crazy.
The other really interesting thing about this, as you can probably tell, this is a black car, but this is not a Nighthawk black car. This has actually been resprayed. Is it a Bentley?
Yes, it's a Bentley metallic black, so it's been specially sprayed in a different colour.
In terms of really obvious modifications, you can see like we've got some rotor wheels on here, we've got a massive K-Sport big brake kit on the front. Is this an 8-pot, I think?
Yeah, 8-piston, yeah.
Absolutely massive. Apart from that, really, this car's quite a blank canvas exterior-wise. You've pretty much kept it to, well, I guess your design.
Yeah, I didn't want to change it too much because I obviously like the shape of the car. I like the fact it's lowered a bit, but I didn't want to cover it and stuff like that because I wanted to keep it fairly pure in terms of the way it looks. A lot of modifications on suspension, brakes, engine, everything else to make it more track usable.
So let's jump in under the bonnet. So under here, there's a few different things going on, and also there's like a massive load of history with this car. There's been various different versions of things that have happened under here, which all the receipts are in the history of this thing. This current setup looks pretty much standard, but this car does actually have a map. We've got the standard airbox on here, which when you bought the car, it didn't come with that.
No, it had a, well, you told me, what did it have? Don't try and catch me out with engine stuff. You know better than me. Ollie's been going for all the receipts. He knows this car better than me now. So it had a, what did it have?
It was an AEM V2, like the heat soaker intake,
okay.
Which I can see why it's been swapped out.
Okay.
But it's interesting that it's been swapped out to the OEM airbox. But in here is a K&N air filter. This car, about 6 months before Julian bought the car, did get mapped at CPL Racing and made about 220-ish horsepower. Got a K100 ECU. It's probably running maybe similar to that, if not, I'm not sure, because various different things have changed, different exhaust system stuff. Still standard inlet manifold. It does have exhaust manifold. The really good thing is, in the list of things since Julian's owned it, he's gone to Honda specialists to get stuff done. So yeah. Load of the receipts for all the parts on this, which we'll get onto. A massive chunk of them have been done at Honda, and obviously they use genuine Honda parts, and they also only recommend good stuff. So loads of bits have been done. This has got Quaife LSD in the gearbox, same as my car. It's also got BC Racing coilovers.
Racing clutch.
Stage 2 clutch in this. I'm trying to think of what, because so many bits have been done, even in your ownership, and there was stuff done before as well. It's just funny because there's some stuff that crosses over. Like there's a lot of wiring going on here that is for the amp and what I guess was the sub that was in the boot when you bought it.
That came out, yeah. That's too heavy, all that stuff.
So all that wiring is still there. The amp is still inside as well. All of it has been bought brand new when you owned it. Apart, I saw that this was a second hand. I mean, it's just the airbox anyway, but everything else, all the parts, all brand new.
The second hand you told me that was new.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I went,
well.
Well.
I thought it was new. Okay.
The other major thing with this is this whole car got corner balance full alignment.
Centre gravity. They mainly do set up for racing Porsches, so they're very well known for that. That's a reputation. They do set up a lot of race cars, and so I got them to set it up so it's all perfectly balanced and very much to my liking. That's a very sort of neutral, fast road car.
So I've never seen one of these with a full corner weight that's actually a road car, not just like full dedicated track car with gutted interior, everything. So that is very cool. Also not the cheapest to get done.
No,
so.
it did cost a lot of money.
So that's another added benefit.
Nice experience though. I mean, they take you out in your car and they see how you drive, and then they ask you what you want, and then they work on the car, and then they insist on going out with you again to see if it's to your liking, and like the chassis feel of it and stuff like that. So it's a very nice experience.
That's cool.
I recommend it if you've got to spare £1,000.
Yeah. Obviously you get the carbon fibre spark plug cover, the carbon fibre inlet manifold cover as well.
Yeah, that makes it much faster. It's full service history.
Yes, that is true. So whilst we're here, there was a little knock on the front, wasn't there?
Yeah.
On the track day. That has been fixed like properly at a proper, I mean, you can't even tell. Full respray for all the areas as well, because there's a new front wing.
And then the important thing is, once they had that knock on that front corner, but it was centre gravity, you set the chassis up and made sure everything with the alignment was absolutely perfect, and the setup of the car was absolutely straight after that happened. So since then, nothing's happened to it.
Also in here, it looks like it's had some new steering arms as well. Yeah, just like overall, it seems with the history of everything, just whenever there's been a service done or anything, everything that's been used has been genuine Honda. It's only been driven about 200 miles in the last sort of 3 or 4 years.
Mainly to the MOT centre.
Yeah, in that 200 miles, there was a service done where valve clearances were done and the timing chain was checked for stretch, and according to that check, it was completely fine. So that's another thing you wouldn't even need to worry about if you had to pick this car up. So it's just like a really well looked after, lots of really good quality parts used on it. Just like a nice solid car, which again, we're going to get onto in a bit. But I think that is everything under here anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
So let's work our way around the side of the car. So now, obviously, these cars are very well known for rusting, as you would have seen on my channel. This car isn't actually too bad. There are obviously some signs it's a 20-year-old Honda, but this one in your ownership has been dry stored the whole time?
Yeah, always dry stored, always garaged, and never used in the rain.
When I had a look underneath this thing, it's almost like a time capsule of about 10 years ago with this thing. So there is a thin layer of underseal on this, which is a slight shame, but it looks like, obviously, because this would have been done before your ownership, so this is easily 10 years ago plus, the condition of these cars that long ago wasn't what they are today. So potentially this thing is actually in very good condition underneath the underseal. As you can see from the sills here, they're all looking good. It seems to be like a time capsule of how the car was, I guess actually before you bought it, really, because the whole time you've had it, it's been in storage. Like, in terms of like the paint condition and stuff, the respray looks great. There are a few little scratches and things like age-related marks and what have you, isn't there? But there's nothing like really bad.
No, it's all pretty good, isn't it?
It's got Muteki wheel nuts and we've got these rotor wheels. A little bit of curbing on them, but nothing like really bad. Just a refurb would make them look completely new again. Yeah,
I mean, it's very straight. I mean, look how good that door is. It's pretty good, isn't it? It is really flat, and it's a very nice paint job. You know, the guy who painted it, he's done a lot of very expensive cars, and there's Ferraris and Lamborghinis and all sorts, so it's not a cheap job. Yeah.
Also, you can see from the side that this thing is set up so nicely. I mean, for you, it's a little bit low.
Yeah, well, it looks good, but it is quite rigid on the road. So it could do with a little bit more suspension travel, depending on what you want to do with it, really. It does look good. There's no doubt about that. You know, the stance on it is really pretty perfect.
So also the tyres we've got on this are 215, 45, 17. We've got AD08Rs on here.
Yeah.
Super grippy. The tread looks amazing on these too. Your goal for this car has been fast road / track. So everything you've done to it sort of geared it towards that, really, hasn't it?
Just very fast drives to the MOT centre.
Yeah, over the last few years. Behind the rear carpets, because the carpets are still in this, I've checked there as well. There is a thin layer of underseal, but I have had a little stab with a screwdriver and it's pretty solid. So it's definitely something you're going to want to look into doing, but compared to the other cars that are on the market, I don't think there's going to be many in much better condition than this, to be honest, for the age of these things now. I guess with that, shall we move round to the rear?
Yep.
So round the back of this car, I mean, probably the first thing that you guys can see is it's got pre-facelift rear lights, which is a very popular thing for most people with facelift cars, apart from me. I haven't done it.
Yeah, I was like that when I bought it.
Rear wiper delete here too. We've got a Honda stick on the back. The standard wing, which is one of your favourite bits from
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's good.
And
really
also
cool.
features in a Jaguar car. But
yeah, it's on a Jaguar I-Pace. We copied this for that.
we do have a rear fog light that's been added, which I can only assume has happened because the wiring for these didn't get wired in correctly, because there is a slight difference, but that's the only thing I can think of. So there's a rear fog light down on the bottom, and we've got this Fujitsu exhaust that, from what I've heard from people, that this is like the best sounding everyday exhaust for this car.
Yeah, that was fitted by Honda. So when I bought this car, it had a much noisier exhaust on it, totally undrivable. But this is just the right sort of balance. You know, it's noisy when you want it to be, and it's, you know, it's never going to be a quiet motorway car, but it is bearable.
So the other interesting thing about that is you bought this exhaust new, and there was a 41 exhaust manifold installed at the same time.
Yeah.
And here is a start for you. So we'll start the engine. So as you can hear, there's no like ticking or anything, just smooth. It's actually weird hearing it without having the dropping cams like my car. Yeah, super smooth. And this is the sound of this Fujitsu exhaust. And it's got a DC Sport 41 manifold as well, so that's the whole exhaust setup. Also underneath you can see it's got the Progress rear anti-roll bar as well, the same as my car, and it's also got some rear lower control arms, which I'm not sure on what brand they are, but in the boot there is a load of sound deadening because that's where the sub was, but apart from that it is a very clean interior, like, which we'll get onto, but the boot carpet's in there as well. I did have a peek under at the rear crash bar and that isn't too rusty either, so yeah, all just good signs that this car has been inside most of the last 10 years really. And so with that rounding out the exterior, now let's move on to the interior. So interior wise, you've never really done
I haven't touched this at all. So this is pretty much as I got it from the previous guy. So he's painted the center console black, changed the gear knob.
Yeah.
Got some very exotic Mugen blanking plate for the cigarette lighter. That's worth £1,000 on its own. And yeah, it's all pretty standard in here really.
Steering wheel's in very nice condition. We've got some carbon fibre around the clocks by the looks of it. Full black here. We've got a single DIN head unit here as well, and on that we've got full audio apart from the sub now throughout the car. So we've got tweeters in here, all focal speakers, so those are here. We've got new rear speakers. I can only assume that the front speakers were done as well.
What about the coin holder as well?
Yeah, JDM coin holder. This is probably my favourite bit in the interior. This is very cool. Everything is just like standard. It's got the standard mats. The other thing as well, I've taken the rear speakers out, hence why I know they're upgraded, and had a look behind there. There's a tiny bit of rust, nowhere near as bad as mine, but as you can see by this, like, it's almost impossible to avoid for one of these cars now.
It's the best I've seen, but I've never been behind a speaker.
Interesting, this is a non-aircon car, so there's a blanking plate for the aircon button here. Yeah, apart from that really, it's standard in here. We've got some there's a lot of Dynamat put into behind the rear speaker area as well, so pretty much a standard car. Obviously standard seats as well.
It's actually better than yours, isn't it, Ollie?
I mean, the JDM coin holder is better than mine. This has got a bit more grip than mine, so that probably doesn't fly open when you accelerate like mine does. Oh, it does also have 2/3 of the Mugen pedals, so it doesn't have the accelerator pedal, which is the one that most people skip. And it has a nice aluminium footrest as well for when your foot isn't on the clutch. And also, whilst we're in the interior, let's talk about the mileage. So currently, this car has done 85,781 miles, which about the amount of miles that my car had done when I bought it. How many years have you owned it now then? 29 years?
9 years, yeah.
So it's done potentially 3,000 miles in the last 9 years, but that entire time it's been spent either on track, being looked after at Honda or Radar Performance, or in dry storage.
It's only done 3 track days though. Mallory, Bedford Autodrome, and we did a hill climb course in it as well. It's not a hard use track car at all. With
the fact that the standard seats still in it, this is obviously just a casual track car. This hasn't been beaten up. As you can also see from the exterior, it's in really nice condition. I think that pretty much covers everything in the interior as well. So a quick actual walk around of this thing, just to show you general condition. There's a few like light scratches here and there, but nothing crazy. So we've got some scratching just on the wing here. You can see that, not much. Another little scratch here, but there's a chip in the windscreen, as you can see. This car will not be coming with this plate, by the way. This car is a 2004 car, so it's a 54 plate. The badge does have a little stone chip in it as well, as you can see there. But apart from that, really, I mean, you just see it's just a bit dusty from being in storage or what have you. I've already mentioned the wheels are going to need a little refurb, but it's nothing crazy. A mark on the roof, as you might be able to see just there. Looks like that would buff out though. Yeah, realistically, this thing is in really nice condition. It's also very cool that it's obviously not the OEM colour. Scuff on the side skirt here, but yeah, it's really just minor stuff that you'd expect for a car of this age, really. So guys, as you've seen from this entire walk around, this car has got some very nice modifications on it and a lot of money spent on brand new parts.
Yeah, far too much money, I'm afraid, yeah.
Receipts for even just in Julian's ownership. This doesn't include the map, this doesn't include loads of other bits as well. It's what, over £10,000, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm afraid so, over several years, yeah.
6.5 of that is just Honda receipts. So it's just like all the money's been spent on really good stuff though, and all genuine Honda stuff used as well. If you're in the market for an EP3 that is one set up to drive and has a map on it already, like this is a great base to take it further, but also has the really cool story behind it of the fact that Julian, the guy that actually designed this car, his car is actually for sale. Get in touch basically, send me a message and I can forward you on to Julian, because you're not looking for crazy money for this either, are you?
I wanted to go to something, you know, everyone says that, but I do really, given the story of the car, what I put into it, I do really want it to go to someone who really is going to treasure it, like the story behind it, and, you know, appreciates the work I've done on this car. Lucky to have too many cars, but I don't get to drive them all. My wife's got the new Type R, which we love and we use. I'm actually selling 3 cars and this is one of the 3, so I hope it goes to someone who really likes it and wants to treasure it. Ollie knows more about this car than I do now, so any questions, probably he's your best man to start with. But yeah, not after crazy money. I'm just more concerned it goes to the right person.
And with that, guys, there's really not much left to cover on this thing. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. Hopefully you've also found it useful if you're thinking of buying one of these, not just this car, but also if you're thinking of selling one as well, the things people are going to be looking for from a sales point of view, and also what you need to be showing people if you are actually selling one of these as well. With that, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this one, comment down below what you think of the car, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.